And we're ready to put the cylinder head on. Now, one thing before you do something, put a zip tie. Let me show you. Put a zip tie, very long zip tie in here. So you're gonna need it, so you can hold this up when you put the cylinder head in. Make sure the pin dowels are sitting in place. The gasket sits in the pin dowels, so you won't have to smash the gasket once you try to put the cylinder head in. Look at that. Seems like perfect fit. Now let's do 2 and 2, 4. Oh shit, I don't wear any gloves. Far out. Gloves now. Now we're gonna torque down the cylinder head. 41 Newton meters. Let's start from the center and follow across pattern. Now it's a good time to turn the crankshaft and find the markings on the crankshaft, but in order to do that, I'll follow a simple trick that I saw somewhere. That's M8 1.25 thread. Tuck this one nicely, be careful, don't break it. And now you can rotate the engine any way you want. Slowly, of course, this or that way. The timing mark, I don't know if you remember from part 2, it's right there. That's the one, and let's put the camshafts on. And the exhaust. Oh, remember to remove the dowel pins so you can fit the actual camshaft in place. And after a bit of trial and error, I managed to make 2 turns on the crankshaft, so the camshafts can have 1 full turn. And it seems that I got correct on the first go the inlet camshaft, but 1 tooth wrong the exhaust camshaft. So the exhaust camshaft has to go 1 tooth that direction. And I'll have to remove it and try again. It is what it is. I moved the camshaft 1 tooth clockwise, as we see on our point of angle, and it seems to be at the moment that it's okay, but we won't know until we put all the stuff in there and eventually find out after 2 turns of the crankshaft if we're okay or not. Let's do that. And after so much drama and suspense, I managed to put both marks, 1, 2, in place. Or maybe the angle you can see it is not very accurate. There you go. 1, 2, and of course down here I'll try to show you better angle as I can. There it is. That line between the H and T. It's the top dead center. And now let's put the center piece. And as far as I remember, the letters, we're looking at the front. 2GH. And let's put a bit of Yamaha bond on the half moons, because this is where they tend to leak. Up. $12mm socket and ratchet. You can always push it in place and to make it easier for you. And the rocker cover gasket. This goes forward. Make sure all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4 half moons, be inside the grooves. You'll fill them, they'll stop at some point. Do not tighten beyond that. Then we'll use the torque wrench tool and we'll torque them. And we have to put the end caps of the crankshaft, left and right. Brand new gaskets, this is the code. Now make sure you push that in there so it can stay in place and won't go out. It has, make sure you push on this, that, and that spots. If you have to, with a flat screwdriver, softly, it'll do the job. You don't just put it like that. You see where the crankcases meet each other? At that point, put some glue. In my case, Yamaha bond. Just a bit. Otherwise it's gonna leak. It's pretty much the same as the half moons up on the rocker cover gasket. Have to put this on, the people eye, but first we have to put of course, O-ring with this coat. Done. And time to put the alternator over there. To make things easy, the tag goes upwards. Time to put the starter motor, of course a bit of oil. this one has to come up here, and somewhere here has to come up here. Of course that there, and that below, all the way up here. We have to go the engine backwards. So far we're here. So put all the cables that we have around the engine on top of the engine so they won't get jammed. We pull every cables, tubes, fuel lines or any other kind of thing that might get jammed between the engine and the frame. And now we have to lift the engine with the jack stand, push it backwards a bit and try to make sure that 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts can be in place. Even though the best thing is to go that way to do the back ones, back bolts of the engine, one down there and one further up here. I managed to pass the first bolt, which is the top one. This one right there. And once you put this one or this down there, either this one, I think it's easier, then you come at the front and you can put pretty much all of them, all 4, 2 and 2 on the other side. And this is why this one should go last, because it has to go. Remember, this is the mounting for the exhaust manifold. Everything can happen in Australia. Dog drivers, they give it to everyone, the driver's license these days. Let's go back to work. Let's go back to work, we've seen that too. 60 Newton meters. Perfect. On the other side as well, and this is 33. Perfect. On the other side as well. Lower mounting bolt, 55 Newton meters. Slowly. That's it, done. And let's secure the upper rear mounting bolt axle by tightening these 2 bolts. And the other one in there. And to make sure that these ones are tight and they won't fall out, we secure the 12mm bolts. Not much. I do it by hand. I don't even know how much the torque ring settings are for these. I didn't even bother to check. But it's a good idea to do it. However, I feel confident by hand. Let's put the sprocket. So we have the old washer, which it can still do the job, but I thought a brand new one will be better. That's the code. because the old one was absolutely wrecked. We have to first put the chain forward. For f***'s sake. Okay. Perfect. Make sure they sit in there. The teeth touch. Brilliant. And that goes in there. Pressing the rear brake. Good. And it's done. And time to replace these two and that on that side, which these two are, that's the code. This one, the code is that one. Let's replace them. Okay, let's remove these. Make sure you pressure these spots so they can sit in place and stay there. Otherwise, if they come out, well, not the best, is it? Flat screwdriver that we have in here. And on the other side as well, but let's clean these surfaces here in there as well so the O-ring can sit properly. Good parts cleaner. With a 400 and a bit of grinding there will be good. Let's put these ones and clean that hole in there as well with brake cleaner and a nice clean cloth. These ones work with for water sealing, so not sure if they can withstand engine oil, but silicone grease or Vaseline will definitely won't destroy plastic or rubber or anything. So in case these are not for inside the engine, to make sure about this, just put silicone grease and put them in place. And let's put that onto the engine block. So I put some silicone paste in here, so we now have to put one end in here and the other end in there of that tube. Not very difficult. We put the bolts on. So far so good. Place the O-rings here and the water pump down there on the cylinder block. Put the oil passages for the cylinder head up here. Tighten up the bottom one. It's coming really nice together. And let's replace these two seals, which is this is the code. And let's go and replace them. That and that on this side, in here. Let's put that in there. But first we have to put a gasket. Now let's put the clutch slave cylinder in here. But before we do that, it's a good idea to put some grease so it can be very well lubricated, that part. The long one goes on top part of the cover as well, and the two shorter ones on the bottom. Now let's put the oil cooler on, but before we do that, that oil ring was really difficult to take it out. It was stuck in there for 26 years, and we have to replace it with that one. Okay, like that. Let's put it on the bike. Since we put some oil on the surface, this will accept that. There's no other way. Brand new. Let's put the exhaust gaskets there. Oh, they don't fit, so time to put the radiator on, and these ones, one on each side, I have to go here. These two have to go up here, 1 and 2. And let's put some engine oil inside the engine, and that's what we're gonna put. Mineral oil, not full synthetic, because mineral oil actually helps with bedding in the engine. Now it's time to do the compression test. We'll use this with that table, and we'll measure each one of them. Let's go measure the first one. And while I was performing the compression test, I realized that the second cylinder was extremely low. It was 50. Very disappointed. I thought I had broken the piston rings, so I sprayed some oil into the cylinder. I performed the test again, and there was no change on the compression, so that meant the piston rings were safe. So it was a valve that it was compressed while it shouldn't. Removed the rocker cover, checked the valves, and I found out that the middle inlet valve was compressed. There was no gap, and I was so sure and triple checked that every single one of them had a clearance, and the correct clearance. However, I was wrong. So learn from my mistake, not triple check, quadruple check next time, and don't do the mistakes that I did. And let's do the test now. Compression check, first cylinder, full throttle. Good. Second cylinder, full throttle. Number 3, switch on full throttle. Let's connect number 4.
Even though I was very disappointed when I saw at first the 176 and 181 psi on the cylinders after the compression test, I realized that this is quite good actually. Many people told me that that's the case when you have a cold engine. When the engine is warmed up, you have a lot more. So having 176 or 181, it's pretty good, especially if you have an engine that hasn't run in yet. I mean, we have brand new piston rings, new only cylinders, and pretty much the engine is considered to be brand new. So after we run in the engine, I'll do another compression check and we'll see how we go there. But at the moment I'm very happy with it.
Now we need access to the filler of the radiator, so 1, 2, 3. And there we are. Okay, the moment of the truth. I open up the main switch and the run switch a few times so it can accumulate as much fuel as it can in the carburetors. I have these tubes to check for the throttle level, and each one of them seems to have enough fuel in there. Let's try. Moment of the truth. We're drunk. Still. Not even choking. It worked. So far, so good. And even though everything was running smooth and nice and beautiful, eventually I realized I had a leak from the carburetors. I checked under here and I could see that it was the fourth carburetor that it was leaking. I had a closer look and I saw that the leak was coming from up here, and then I noticed that damage. Damn it. Not sure how I can fix that.